Okay, well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to our Thursday morning business chat for May 19th, 2022. And I'm Gregory Muscari. I'm going to be the presenter and trainer here this morning. And I've got a very important topic. I think it should be close to all of our hearts. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and just jump right in. And the topic this morning is understanding the difference between the customer and the distributor journey. And this is inspired by a webinar I got to attend a couple of days ago with Terrell Transtrom, a very close friend of ours, who's the founder of a company called Service Quest. And he's unquestionably the number one consultant to the direct selling industry. He's coached and consulted with over 300 companies. Prior to that, he was a chief operations officer of a little company called Melaleuca, and he helped them grow from 12 employees to 1,200 employees. So Terrell understands our industry like no one I've ever met. And so this is information that came forward, and this was the subject matter. It was a webinar for company executives, and having been one once and a close friend of Terrell, he keeps me in the loop on some of these things that he's doing. So I'll start out by just sharing something I learned from one of my mentors early on in the industry. In LifeWave, we have three primary responsibilities: getting people in, keeping people in, and moving them along. And I want to give credit to one of my mentors, Bob Crisp, previous Triple Diamond and Amway, and unquestionably one of the best platform speakers in our profession. He passed away about a year ago, so he's no longer with us. But Bob left a legacy. He trained some of the top distributors in our industry. And in the webinar that I attended a couple of days ago, they talked about network marketing used to be very opportunity driven. And maybe that's why it has such a bad taste in so many people's mouth, because everybody got recruited into companies, and it used to be all about timing trends and opportunity direct on enrolling distributors. And if somebody said no to becoming a distributor, go, oh, well, maybe you should just try the products. Like the becoming a customer was a secondary option. The primary focus was recruit. It was all about timings, trends, opportunity, and money. Well, things have really changed, and that's probably because the FTC is now encouraging and sometimes forcing companies to have at least 50% customers. Some companies, they've actually forced them to have 70% customers. So LifeWave is following trend with a lot of other companies, and some of the most successful, and probably all of the most successful long-term companies in our industry have responded and now become very customer focused, which I'm sure is heartwarming news to all of you, and new news to all of you, because we typically lead with the product, then if and when appropriate, offer the business. And this is kind of a repatterning that some old networkers like myself had to go through, because I grew up in networking back in the 80s and 90s, and that was the business that I learned. And by God's grace, I was very successful at. But I was also very fortunate to choose some really wonderful product-driven companies. So during the webinar, they talked about the benefits of segmenting between customer and distributor journey. And they said, there's benefits as compliance and retention, because you're saying the right thing to the right people. And as a result, you're retaining them. And it's important to note that there's different onboarding materials and training and communications for customers versus distributors. I think we all realize that. And we've been working diligently to create Live Younger Success for the distributor journey. And now we have nitty-gritty basics for the customer journey as website support, in addition to the LifeWave technology platform and website. So instead of trying to make a distributor out of a customer, we're working in the direction of providing a natural flow and pathway from customer to distributor. And I want to stress, when and if someone wants to move in that direction. A person convinced against their will remains the same ever still. So we don't want to try and push people. We want to lead. We shouldn't be pushers. We should be leaders. So And I want to point out, this was, I think, worthy of repeating, that there's different personas, if you will, of our customers and distributors. So it's not just differentiating between a customer and distributor. Within, one path doesn't fit all, and we'll try and spell things better in the future. For customers, we have primarily three different types of customers. We have customers that just want to use the product. I just want to buy it. That's it. And they may sign up on auto ship, they may not, but they're not really into sharing yet. Okay. At least that's their initial posture. And that's part of the customer journey, because they may evolve from just wanting to share it to maybe becoming let's call it class 2 customer that, yeah, I'll share it a bit because I'm interested in getting, if I refer 3, I can get it for free. Hey, that's awesome. I'll do that. And then we have other people that are influencers, and they may be very capable, very competent influencers, but maybe they're in another company and they can't join as a distributor, but they want to tell people about it. Maybe they're an industry professional, a consultant, or a speaker, and they got to maintain their neutrality, but they're influencers, but they just want to be a customer. And we want to treat each of those types of customers differently. And in the distributors, I'm sure we know that we have some people just get in because they just want to get their product for free. If they can just earn enough every month to cover the cost of their product, they're A-okay. They're very happy. Then we have, let's call them the class 2 distributors, or, that want some extra income. They have a full-time job, full-time career, or something else they're doing. They're retired. They're not really focused on making a lot of money, but yeah, I'd like to make some extra money doing this and, helping people, sharing, caring, and making some income. And then you have other people that just say, oh my gosh, this is incredible. And they can see the future of our historic breakthrough in affordable stem cell technology. They want to ride that wave of change because, as we've already talked about, stem cells is the leading edge of the health sciences industry, and we have the best process. So I want to talk now just the importance and of timely onboarding of customers and distributors. And I know we've been talking about this a lot, and we will continue because it's so vitally important. And it really needs to begin within the first 24 to 72 hours. When somebody makes a decision to buy or to join, you need to be focused on working with them. And during this webinar, there were several case studies they shared that proper onboarding can double customer and distributor retention. And remember, I said our 3 goals are getting them in, keeping them in, and moving them along. Well, if you don't keep them in, you're not going to move them along. And it's all about retention. I sometimes use the metaphor of the front door and the back door. The front door is recruiting customers and distributors. The back door is when they leave. And our goal should be keep the front doors wide open. Welcome, come on in, and keep the back doors as tightly closed as possible. You want as many to stick. We can't tie them down or handcuff them, but we can educate and communicate and develop relationships so they stick with us. So let's talk about onboarding customers first. Onboarding customers, what they pointed out in the webinar is regular connection and communication is vitally important. And so this is where I've kind of boiled it down for us, Live Younger community, LifeWave distributors. These are the things that I'm recommending and working with many leaders. I think this is kind of our standard operating procedure, if you will, SOP for onboarding new customers. You thank them for the order. Thanks very much. Hey, I'm going to send you a welcome letter, and for us distributors, everybody should know that welcome letter is in Live Younger Success in the business basic section. And you can totally customize it any way you want. But I think it's really important right after the order, you give them a verbal thank you and you send them the customer letter. And when their order arrives, you should be there with them to share and answer questions on proper use. You should let them know, hey, when the product arrives, please let me know so I can answer any of your questions and make sure you're using it properly. And maybe that would be a good time 2 or 3 days later. You don't want to do too much all at once, but whenever you feel comfortable, depending on how serious they are, you want to introduce the customers to nittygrittybasics.com. Okay. That's our customer onboarding and education website. Okay. And I'd suggest you're connecting with your customers a few times the first week, weekly for the first month, and monthly for the first few months. You want to develop a relationship. We call this relationship marketing for a reason. If people develop a relationship with you, if they have a problem, they're going to call you. If they don't have a relationship with you, they're just going to quit. I mean, let's just say there's a much greater chance they're just going to quit if they have a problem. Or if they have a relationship with you, they're going to pick up the phone and call you, and you can solve the problems. And there have been customer service studies that prove customers that have a problem that gets well solved are more loyal than customers that never had a problem. Okay, that's important to think about. So we don't want to create problems, but we want to solve problems. That's what we get paid for. Now, also, education is critical for customer success and retention. So developing that relationship, you want to send them an occasional video. Hey, can I send you another video? Hey, there was just a really great, every Monday morning we have this distributor. We call it our Monday morning miracle call. It was a great call yesterday, and I'd like, if it's okay with you, I'll send that over to you. You can send them a link from YouTube. You can also make sure that they're accessing Nitty Gritty Basics. So if they call and ask you a question, and the answer is Nitty Gritty Basics, you should point them to the place in Nitty Gritty Basics and do that. And if you're not very comfortable doing Zooms, I encourage you to get good at Zooming, because I believe Zoom is a much better way to communicate than a phone. Not everybody's willing to get on a Zoom, but if they are, it's a face-to-face relationship. It's like I'm looking at you guys, you're looking at me, and it's a face-to-face. And so, and if you're on Zoom, you can say, hey, hold on, let me show you where that is. And you could bring Nitty Gritty up on your Zoom and bring them right there and become familiar. And maybe if you've already done a guided tour with Nitty Gritty, they can find it themselves. So let's talk about onboarding distributors. And the same with customers. Regular connection and communication is vitally important to your distributors too. And when you enroll a new distributor, you want to send them the distributor welcome letter. And that's located in the same place in the business basics section of Live Younger Success. And this is vitally important. You want to give them some homework. And that's step 1, 2, and 3 at Live Younger Success. And you want to emphasize them downloading the LifeWave InTouch app and sending you a test video. That's step 1 on our Live Younger Success landing page, and step 1 in the getting started process. And the beauty of that is, if they download the InTouch and send you a video, you broke the InTouch barrier. Okay. And then you get to respond, and all of a sudden they get their first alert and they go, wow, this is really cool. I was on the phone with someone a couple of days ago, and he said, yeah, I've downloaded the app, but we went on to talk about it. And I says, when you get the notice that they responded or that they viewed it, you can go back into InTouch, see how much of it they watch. He goes, oh, really? You get a notice? Which tells me he downloaded the app, but he probably wasn't using it, right? Okay, or no one he sent a video to watched one yet, right? That was a clue. I says, oh yeah, it's so cool. This is the coolest thing. And it really is. So, and then you want to set it, this is step 3 in the first 3 steps of getting started. Set a time within 24 to 72 hours to do a personal success planning session. Okay. And this was emphasized on the webinar I attended the other day, how important it is to activate that getting started process and make it as automated as possible, but as personal as possible. So high touch, high tech. We're using the website, but we're also using the communications. So, and in that planning session, and right now I'm working with some leaders on developing a success planning worksheet. It'll be a simple little 2-sided worksheet that they can download and know what you're going to cover. And when you do that planning session with them, you'll just walk through the worksheet. And what you'll find on the worksheet is what is their why. And I learned many years ago, don't bother teaching them how to tell you find out why, because if their why is pretty small, it can be a pretty short training. If their why is really big, hey, you may want to move in with them. Okay. And then, match their goal. Then you want to find out what their goals are, answer their questions, introduce them to the upline, and plug them into our Live Younger success system, our events, and community. And this is so important. This is one of the things I know that Robin and I are working with many of you to develop our community and our success systems to be warm and welcoming and helpful for people. And so I highly recommend you take them on a guided tour of the liveyoungersuccess.com. Okay. See if we can spell it right. There we go. liveyoungersuccess.com. One of the benefits of doing presentations from a Microsoft Word document, I can change it as we go. Now, this was very interesting to me. During the webinar a couple of days ago, they discussed a case study and a very significant MLM that carefully tracked their retention. My understanding, if I'm remembering right, they're around a $300 million a year network marketing company. Interesting, about the same size as LifeWave, right? Okay. And they added a tool very similar to InTouch. It's not the only tool out there. I think it's the best, but they added a tool similar to InTouch, and they began training all new distributors during the onboarding process on how to use this new tool. 12 months later, their retention of new distributors had doubled. So think about that. I mean, that's what the opportunity we have. So I guess the takeaway from this, from a distributor standpoint, is you got to get people comfortable using InTouch. You got to walk them through those 1, 2, 3 steps. You've got to do that success planning session. And if they're not sending out videos, if they're not using InTouch, they're probably a distributor, a customer that upgraded to distributor, but they're probably just really a customer. And there's another discussion we're going to have on one of these Thursday calls will be the concept of match commitment. But this is so critical to your success. You want to match your commitment. Some people have a very shallow commitment, and you should have a very casual commitment. Some people have a very serious commitment. You should match that commitment and be serious with them. Okay. So bottom line, education and training are critical to customer and distributor retention. And so I encourage, you want to encourage your new distributors to attend our weekly Zooms or watch the replays, but really to plug in to our success system. So that's, the 20-minute training I had for you. It took us about 5 minutes to get it going on understanding the difference between customer distributor journey. I will be posting this document in the Facebook group, so you didn't have to take copious notes. I should have told you in the beginning. So it'll be right there for you, but I'm very excited we were able to do this. I'm going to stop my share and I'm going to unpin myself. And if you have any questions, anybody, if you'd like to raise your hand, I'd love to hear any feedback any of you might have to what I just shared today. Or just unmute yourself and pipe in.
Gregory, this is
While
Ann.
we're waiting, I just want to say the difference between being on the phone and using Zoom where you can see each other or something else that's visual, it increases trust. And remember how important trust is in building relationships. So, I know it's a little inconvenient sometimes, but it makes a difference. And I see Beth's hand is up and you're unmuted, so go ahead, Beth. And I want to welcome Beth to our Live Younger community. She's been around, but she hasn't been active. And so she's just getting active with us. She's in Colorado Springs. She's working with Darlene, and a big warm Live Younger welcome to Beth Weatherford.
Thank you so much. I really am feeling that.
Hey,
So
Beth,
I
what do you have to say
appreciate
or
that.
share?
Can you hear me?
Well, we're not hearing you.
You're not hearing you, Beth.
Oh.
There you go. Now we got you. Go ahead.
Okay. You can hear me?
Yes, yes, we can.
Okay, I want to just say thank you for that warm welcome. I am feeling it, so thank you. I'm loving this training. And I wanted to find out more about the planning session. I know you said you were going to make a two-sheeter or something for the new distributor, but where do I find the planning session training for me?
Okay, the planning session training for you will start by one of your skilled upline leaders doing a planning session with you. And you can find out, a lot of that is being condensed down from the business planning guide, or excuse me, the getting started guide that you can download in the library section of the Live Younger Success. And that'll walk you through a lot of the concepts, but we've honed it down. Instead of walking people through the 16-page getting started guide, we want to make it more streamlined so we can, because the business is really pretty simple. It really is.
Robin already sent her.
Matching people's
She
goals.
wanted
So
to do that.
someone's
Me or
speaking up in the background. I can't hear, but so Beth, I would get with one of your upline leaders and they'll walk you through the process.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and we'll have that worksheet within the next couple of weeks. That should be ready.
Okay, wonderful. Thanks.
Great question. Thanks very much for asking.
I think Liz is next.
Okay, Liz, go ahead, Liz.
Good morning.
Good morning.
And I just wanted to say great training, first of all, which you always do the best. I'm one of your favorite champions
Yes,
of your trainings.
yeah.
What's
You mentioned Zoom quite a bit, and I just wanted to mention again, I think I've mentioned it before, you can create a free Zoom account that is usable for doing one-on-ones and even small groups. So it's free to do. So I would suggest going to zoom.us and setting up your own free account. So that was point number one that I just wanted to mention. And number two is once you have the document ready, in addition to putting it into the Facebook group, we'll also put it in the liveyoungersuccess.com in the library section. And probably what I'm going to suggest is that we have a customer tab in there, and we'll put that in that customer tab. liveyoungersuccess.com is really designed as a location for you and your distributor teams to be able to use that as a resource for not only learning how to build your business, but also a resource for where documents are, where YouTube channels are, and it's an easy location to be able to go find what you're looking for. Whereas the nittygrittybasics.com is going to be primarily for customers. So we've been transitioning that over, Judy, Gregory, and I, for distributor information and resources over to the liveyoungersuccess.com. So that's it.
Beautiful. Well, thank you, Liz. And I see we're at the bottom of the hour. We're trying to keep these calls tight, 30-minute, business chat. If there's any final comments from anyone, now would be a good time. Otherwise, we'll just open up the lines, let everybody unmute themselves. And Robin wants to share something.
Okay, so every day I'm in gratitude to Liz, Judy, and Gregory. Judy got the ball rolling. Gregory had things going on in the background. And now we do have those two distinct sites, but I recommend all distributors get very familiar with Nitty Gritty Basics. Also, it's product information, which we all want. And you'll be sending your customers there. So being familiar with what's there is going to make a big difference by guiding people to help them get their questions answered. So please use both sites as distributors.
Yeah, and I neglected to say, I think we all know that distributors are customers too, right? So you want to product educate and business educate your distributors. So thanks very much, everyone, for plugging in. And I hope you found this valuable, and it will be available for replay on YouTube. And we'll see you all. Thanks all.
Such
Thank you,
valuable training.
Gregory.
Thank you.
Have a great day. Bye.
Took notes anyway.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Have a wonderful day, weekend.
So grateful.
Thank you.
Thanks so
Bye.
much.
Thank you.